How to Talk So Little Kids Will Listen by Joanna, Faber, and Julie King. Chapter 1. Tools for Handling Emotions. What's all the fuss about feelings? When kids don't feel right, they can't behave right. Joanna. Most of the parents in my workshops have been pretty impatient with this first topic, helping children deal with difficult feelings. They'd like to move right on to the second section, how to get your kids to do what you tell them to do. Not that we don't care about how our kids feel, it's just not generally the first priority for the frazzled parent. Let's face it, if they did as they were told, things would go so smoothly we'd all feel great. The problem is, there's just no good shortcut to getting a cooperative kid. You can try, but you will likely end up knee-deep in the bog of conflict. Think of those times when you're very glad you are not being filmed for the reality television, and the times when you are screaming at the kid so hard your throat aches. You've just told him for the 100th time not to shove his little sister near the stove, or pull the elderly dog's ear. He will bite you, and you will deserve it! And your child remained oblivious. I'm guessing those were times when you were feeling tired, stressed, or upset about something else entirely. If the same incident had occurred when you were feeling more cheerful, you would have shown grace under pressure. Maybe scooped up the little sister or the long-suffering dog with a quick kiss or scratch under the chin, and redirected your young savage with an understanding chuckle. So what's the point of all this? The point is that we can't behave right when we don't feel right. And kids can behave right when they don't feel right. If we don't take care of their feelings first, we have little chance of engaging their cooperation. And we'll have left going for us is our ability to use greater force. And since we'd like to reserve brute force for emergencies such as yanking children out of traffic, we've got to face this feeling things head on. So let's dig in. Most of us don't have too much trouble accepting our children's positive feeling. That's pretty easy. Gosh, Jimmy is your best friend in the world. You love Daddy's pancakes. You're excited about the new baby. How nice. Glad to hear it. It's when our children express a negative feeling that we run into trouble. What? You hate Jimmy? But he's your best friend. You plan to punch him in the nose? Don't you dare! How can you be sick of pancakes? They're your favorite. You want me to give the baby back? That is a terrible thing to say. Don't ever let me hear something like that come out of your mouth again. We don't want to accept negative feelings because they are so negative. We don't want to give them any power. We want to correct them, diminish them, or preferably make them disappear altogether. Our intuition tells us to push those feelings away as fast and hard as possible. But this is one instance in which our intuition is leading us astray. My mother always tells me, if you aren't sure what's right, try it out on yourself. Let's do that. Consider your reaction to this situation. Imagine you wake up feeling lousy, you didn't get enough sleep last night, and you can feel a headache coming up. And you stop to get some coffee before going to work at the preschool and run into a coworker. You say to her, "Boy, I don't want to go into work today and face all those loud, quarrelsome kids. I just want to go back home, take some Tylenol, and spend the day in bed." What would your reaction be if your friend denied your feeling and scolded you for your lousy attitude? Hey, stop complaining. The kids aren't that bad. You shouldn't talk about them that way. Anyway, you know you'll have a good time once you get there. Come on, let me see that smile. Or gave you some advice? Look, you've got to pull yourself together. You know you need this job. What you should do is get rid of that coffee. Drink some soothing herbal tea, and meditate in the car before school starts. Or perhaps a gentle philosophical lecture. Hey, no job is perfect. That is just life. There's no use complaining about it. Dwelling on the negative is not productive. How about if she compared you with another teacher? Look at Liz. She's always cheerful about going to work. And do you know why? Because she's ultra prepared. She always has really great lesson plans ready, week ahead of time. Would questions be helpful? Are you getting enough sleep? What time did you get to bed last night? Do you think you might be getting a cold? Are you taking vitamin C? Have you been using those Sunny wipes that are available at our school so you won't catch germs from the kids? Here are some of the reactions we get when we present this kind of scenario in our group. I'm never talking to you again. This is no friend of mine. You have no clue. I hate you. Go to hell. Blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I'll never talk to you about my problems again. I'm sticking the topic like the weather from now on. I feel guilty for making such a big deal about this. I wonder why I can't handle the kids. I feel pitiful. I hate Liz. I feel like I'm being interrogated. I feel judged. You must think I'm stupid. I can't say it out loud, but I'll tell you the initial fuck you. The last response perfectly expresses the intensity of hostility that we sometimes experience when someone denies our negative feelings. We can go quickly from unhappiness to rage when talked to this way, and so can our children. So what would be helpful to hear in a situation like this? My guess is that some of your misery would be soothed if someone simply acknowledged and accepted your feeling. It's awful to have to go to work when you don't feel well, especially when you work with kids. What we need is a nice snowstorm or maybe a very small hurricane that would shut the school down for just one day. When their feelings are acknowledged, people feel relieved. She understands me. I feel better. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I can handle it. Do we actually talk to our kids this way? Correcting them, scolding them, interrogating them, and lecturing them when they express a negative feeling? The group has no trouble coming up with examples. Here are some of the most common. Denial of feelings. You don't really hate school. You'll have fun once you get there. You know you like playing with the blocks. Has any children ever responded, "Oh yeah, you're right. You just reminded me that I do love school"? Philosophy. Look, kiddo, life isn't fair. You've got to stop it with the he got more, hers is better. How likely is it that your child will reply, "Geez whiz, I was all upset, but now that you explained to me that life isn't fair, I feel so much better. Thanks, Dad." Questions. Why did you throw sand when I just told you not to? What child says, why did I? I guess there's no good reason. Thanks for pointing that out. It won't happen again. Comparison. Look at how Olivia is sitting quietly and waiting for her turn. Whose child would say, "Oh gosh, I will try to be more like Olivia"? It's more likely she'll feel like giving Olivia a bunk on the head. Lecture. Why do you always want a toy as soon as your brother starts playing with it? You had no interest in it a minute ago. You just want to take it away from him. That's not very nice. Anyway, that's a toy for babies, and you're a big girl now. You should be more patient with your little brother. And where is the child who responds, "Do go on, dear mother. I'm learning so much from this speech. Let me just jot down a few notes on my iPad so I can go over those points later." Okay, I hear you say, but it's easy to be empathic with the grown-up friends. Grown-ups are civilized. Little kids aren't like that. They are way less logical. My friends don't keep me up at night. At least not most of them. I don't have to get my friends to go to school or brush their teeth or stop hitting their siblings. Pretending my child is an adult is not going to cut it. If an adult friend behaves like my child, she would not be my friend for long. All right, I get it. We can treat our children like we treat our adult friends, but if we want their willing cooperation instead of their hostility, we need to find a way to use the same principle of acknowledging feelings when a person is in distress. Let's peer into our toolbox and see how we can modify our stockpile for use with the younger set. Tool 1. Acknowledge feeling with words. The next time your kid's saying something negative and inflammatory, follow these steps. 1. Grit your teeth and resist the urge to immediately contradict him. 2. Think about the emotion he is feeling. 3. Name the emotions and put it in a sentence. With any luck, you will see the intensity of the bad feelings diminish dramatically. Good feelings can come in until the bad feelings are let out. If you try to stuff those bad feelings back in, they will marinate and become more potent. For example, when a child says, "I hate Jimmy. I'm never playing with him again," instead of course you will. Jimmy is your best friend, and we don't say hate. Try, "Boy, sounds like you're really angry with Jimmy right now," or "Something Jimmy did really annoyed you." Watch child say, "Why don't we always have to have pancakes? I hate pancakes," instead of, "You know you love pancake. They're your favorite food." Try, "Sounds like you're disappointed about pancakes for breakfast. You're in the mood for something different." When a child says, "This puzzle is too hard," instead of, "No, it's not. It's easy. Here, I'll help you. Look, here's a corner piece." Try, "Puzzles can be so frustrating. All these little pieces could drive a person nuts." You are giving your child a crucial vocabulary of feelings that he can resort to in times of need. When he can wail, "I am frustrated," instead of biting, kicking, and hitting, you will feel the thrill of triumph. Very important point. All feelings can be accepted. Some actions must be limited. I am not suggesting that you then stand by and cheer as Junior slugs his friend Jimmy in the nose, or that you immediately start cooking up a mushroom and cheddar cheese omelette for your demanding toddler who has just complained about the pancake. Just accept the feelings. Often, a simple acknowledgement of the feelings is enough to diffuse a potential meltdown. For those times when it's not enough, you'll find more tools in Chapter 2. What? You're impatient? You want the entire book stuffed into Chapter 1? I hear you. It's annoying to be strung along like this. If I could fit it all into one paragraph, I would. Like most great endeavors, this accepting feeling things is easier said than done. I'm going to reminisce about a few, among many, of the times when I found it difficult to follow this seemingly simple path. To me, the beautiful take-home lesson of these stories is that you can mess up endlessly and it's okay. You can fix it. You can wander from the path, get stuck in the bog, pull yourself out, scratch your mosquito bites, and move on down the road. The itchy spot will heal, the mud will wash up, and your journey will be pleasant again for the next little bit. When the conversation was turning to conflict, my mother used to gesture wiping a slate clean and say, "Erase and start again." But that's old school. She's from a generation of chalkboards. Have kids even heard of the chalkboard these days? Some parents in my groups have used the word rewind as they walk backward out of the room and then re-enter with more accepting words. Even that has an old-fashioned sound now that cassette tape have become a thing of the past. What would be modern equivalent of asking for a second chance? Perhaps yelling, "Control, Alt, Delete," or "Reset," with the motion of the finger pressing an imaginary button. The important thing is to give yourself endless chances. Whatever imagery you choose to use, Here are a few examples from my years as a mom of toddlers where I managed to change course midstream and save my little parenting raft from upending in rough waters. The disappointing sponge creature. Sam, at age 3, has little sponge eggs that you drop in warm water, where they hatch into little sponge animals. He has decided he will hatch one a day to make them last. He drives me crazy asking, "Is it the next day yet?" but sticks to his plan. On the third day, 2 little horses come out attached by their noses. Sam, what is it? Me, needing it to be good. Oh, look, honey, it's a mommy and a baby horse. Sam, no, it's not. You can't even see their faces. Yes, you can. See, they're kissing. I don't like them. Getting desperate. I could draw their noses on with a pen. I will never like them. Foolishly persisting. I could cut them apart with scissors so their faces will be easier to see. I will never like them. They are bad. Finally seeing the light. Oh, I see. You don't like the way their faces are squished together. Yeah, I'm going to play with the penguins instead. Why did I refuse to acknowledge his feeling for such a long time here? I just desperately wanted to make it better, fix the problem, protect my child from sadness and disappointment. Let's be honest. I wanted to protect myself from his sad emotions. Who enjoys wailing child? But he just as desperately needed his disappointment to be heard before he could move on to happier feelings. Here is another time Sam was disappointed and I had trouble accepting his feelings at first. Sam, what is it? Me, needing it to be good. Oh, look, honey, it's a mommy and a baby horse. Sam, no, it's not. You can't even see their faces. Yes, you can. See, they're kissing. I don't like them. Getting desperate. I could draw their noses on with a pen. I will never like them. Foolishly persisting. I could cut them apart with scissors so their faces will be easier to see. I will never like them. They are bad. Finally seeing the light. Oh, I see. You don't like the way their faces are squished together. Yeah, I'm going to play with the penguins instead. Why did I refuse to acknowledge his feeling for such a long time here? I just desperately wanted to make it better, fix the problem, protect my child from sadness and disappointment. Let's be honest. I wanted to protect myself from his sad emotions. Who enjoys wailing child? But he just as desperately needed his disappointment to be heard before he could move on to happier feelings. Here is another time Sam was disappointed and I had trouble accepting his feelings at first. Where in the world is the videotape of Carmen Sandiego? In this story, Dan is 5 and Sam is 3. Me. Dan, I taped Bill Nye, the science guy for you. Did you tape Carmen Sandiego for me? No. Oh, no! You didn't ask me to tape it. Dan asked me to tape Bill Nye. How many times has a nice, reasonable explanation like that to a crying child worked for you? Continue to cry, doesn't go for any logic. Me, irritated with him for being so whining. Sam, it's on every day of the week. You can see it tomorrow. Me, boy, you sound so disappointed. You really like that show a lot. Sam, it's my favorite show. Me, tell me what you like about it. Sam, I like the way the dancers flip around and the machines make smoke and they have to catch the bad guy. It's so cool. And we proceed to have a nice civilized conversation about the coolness of Carmen Sandiego. Why again, with all that I know, was it initially hard for me to just accept the darn feeling? Well, since you're asking, I'll tell you. I was sure my son was having an outsized reaction to a trivial matter. To me, a missed TV show does not qualify as worthy of a meltdown, but a child's emotions are just as real and important to him as our grown-up emotions are to us. The best way to help a child get over it is to help him go through it. Here is one more story where I found it very challenging to accept the emotion. Block wars. I have that familiar sinking feeling as I watch my 1-year-old Sam approach my 3-year-old Dan, who is building with blocks. Dan takes a guarding position. Me. Dan, let the baby have a few blocks. He just wants to play with you. Dan. No, I'm making something. Me. Come on, Dan. He'll just play with them for a minute. You know how babies are. Sam is upon the blocks. Dan shoves him and he falls down, wailing. Dan, what is the matter with you? Now you made the baby cry. Clearly, this is not a self-esteem enhancing conversation. The good thing about being a parent is that if you blow it the first time, you almost always get another chance. In this particular case, the same basic scenario recurred several hundred times, so I had ample opportunities to practice. Here I am in a finer moment. Dan guarding blocks, baby approaching. No, Dan said. Me. Acknowledging and identifying his feeling. Oh no, here you are working on something special and the giant baby is coming to grab it. How frustrating. Here. He swiftly tosses a handful of blocks to the floor to distract the baby and moves his creation to the coffee table. Me. Whoa, you figure out what to do to keep that baby happy. What makes it so difficult for me to acknowledge my son's feeling the first time around? Well, because I was sure this desire to knock siblings on his head over a few blocks was so wrong that I needed him to understand it now and not indulge this aggressive impulse for even a split second. Yet it was only by showing respect for his strong feelings about his work that he was able to move past aggression. When I tried to dismiss his feelings, he had to fight his brother and his mother. We do things automatically, protect against sad emotions, dismiss what we see as trivial emotions, and discourage angry emotions. We don't want to reinforce negative feelings. To acknowledge them seems counterintuitive. You may be wondering, isn't there a time when we have to explain to the child why he must do something, or don't children need to be told to respect other people's feelings? The answer is yes, but we are not there yet. Without having their own feeling acknowledged first, children will be deaf to our finest explanations and most passionate entreaties. My pin-sized next-door neighbors illustrated this very eloquently the other day. I had promised to take care of little Jackie so that her mother could get some important paperwork done. Babysitting failure. Jackie, 3 years old. I want to go home. Me. You just got here. Let's stay in the yard for a while. We can play on the swings. No, go home. Your mom has to get some work done. We can have fun over here. No! Me calling her mother. Is Jackie okay? Jackie's mom. She's fine. Me. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Did she say why she wouldn't stay? Jackie's mom. She just told me Joanne said blah 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 blah. Hey, how dare she? In a communications expert. But when I didn't acknowledge her feelings, all she heard of my effort to persuade her to stay was blah 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 blah. Children depend on us to name their feelings so that they can find out who they are. If we don't, our unspoken message is, you don't mean what you say, you don't know what you know, you don't feel what you feel, you can't trust your own sense. Children need us to validate their feelings so they can become grown-ups who knows who they are and what they feel. We are also laying the groundwork for a person who can respect and not dismiss the needs and feelings of other people. Okay, fine, can we move on now? You ask. We need chapter 2 already. I'm not going to insist that you stay here in chapter 1. Skip ahead if you'd like, but I'm going to linger here a bit longer. This idea of accepting feeling is so big, so important, that I'm going to explore some variations on the theme before I join you up ahead in the next chapter. I'm betting that if I can spend more time accepting feelings in difficult situations, a lot of my conflicts will dissolve without even glancing at chapter 2. Here are some more ideas about how to make these powerful tools of accepting feelings work for you. Very important point. Sit on those buts. It is very important to follow up a perfectly lovely statement accepting a feeling with the word but. We worry that our kids will think we approve of their negative behavior when we acknowledge the negative feelings. So we sabotage our good intention by saying, I understand you're furious, but you cannot hit your sister. I hear how upset you are about your brother wrecking your Legos, but you have to understand he's just a baby. I know you want to stay and play, but it's time to pick up your brother. I know you are in the mood of chocolate chips cookies, but we don't have any in the house. But takes away the gift you've just given. It's like saying, I hear how you feel, and now I'm going to explain to you what that feeling is wrong. Imagine hearing someone saying, I'm so sorry your mother passed away, but hey, she's dead, you're alive. Tears won't change it, let's move on. If you feel a but bubbling up, you can replace it with this handy sentence starter. The problem is, it can be irritating to have to deal with the baby when you are trying to build spaceship. The problem is, babies don't understand about Legos. How disappointing to find an empty box when you are in the mood for cookies. The problem is, it's too late to go shopping. The problem is suggests that there is a problem that can be solved without weeping away the feelings. Perhaps you will find a table where you can set up the Legos out of reach. Maybe you will add cookies in big red letters to the shopping list and stick it on the refrigerator. Tony, a no-nonsense mom in one of my parenting workshop, complained that she wasn't happy with this phrase. It's not always a problem, she protested. Why does everything have to be a big problem? So there are no cookies right in this second. Get over it. I had to think, darn it, that's my go-to solution and this woman is rejecting it. I have to accept her feeling about it. I'd better come up with something else quick. Thankfully, a phrase my mother used came to me. Ah, try this, I offered. Even though you know it's too late to go shopping for cookies, you'd sure like to have some right now. Even though you know it's time to pick up your brother at the bus stop, it can be exasperating to have to leave the playground when you're having fun. As a bonus, you've taught him a new vocabulary word. Even though you know is not off-putting because it gives your child credit for understanding the problem, while at the same time letting him know that you emphasize with how strongly he feels. Tools 2. Acknowledge feelings with writing.